Okay, in this video we're going to look at the segment addition postulate and the angle addition postulate, and then we're going to look at a couple of examples in which we use those two postulates to solve some problems. So, starting with the segment addition postulate, the segment addition postulate just says if points A, B, and C are collinear, and if point B is between points A and C, then the measure of segment AB plus the measure of segment BC is equal to the measure of segment AC. So let's take a look at a picture that kind of illustrates what this postulate is about. So our postulate says if points A, B, and C are collinear. So let me draw 3 points that are collinear. Here's a line, and here are 3 points on this line. So I've got A, B, and C, they're collinear, and I'm also told one of the points is between the other 2 points. So point B is going to be between points A and C. So let me make this point A, and this point C, and this point B. So I've got B between points A and C. So according to this postulate, the length of segment AB, which is this distance here, plus the length of BC, which is this distance here, is going to equal this whole distance. Well, that kind of makes sense if you think about this as being maybe a ruler. And let's say the distance from A to B is, let's say, 7 centimeters. And if the distance from B to C is, let's say, 5 centimeters. Well, then this whole distance from A to C is just going to be 7 centimeters plus 5 centimeters. It's going to be 12 centimeters. That's all the segment addition postulate says. So if AB is 7, BC is 5, then AC, this whole distance here, is going to be just the sum of each of these two segments here. So that whole distance there is going to be 12 centimeters. All right, so let's take a look at an example that uses the segment addition postulate. Example number 1. Points S, D, and T are collinear, and point S is between points D and T. If dt is 40, ds is 2x minus 8, and st is 3x minus 12, find x, ds, and st. Okay, so I want to use my 4-step problem-solving procedure. So the first thing I want to do is draw and label a picture. So I've got these 3 points that are collinear. So let me draw a line here, put 3 points on it. And point S is between point D and T. So S is between D and T. Okay, there's my picture. I've drawn my picture. Now let me label it. DT is 40. So DT is this whole length here. So DT is 40. DS is this distance here, is 2x minus 8. And ST is 3x minus 12. Okay, now I've drawn and labeled my picture. Now I want to set up and solve an equation. Well, remember, we know from our segment addition postulate that if we have 3 collinear points and 1 point is between the other 2, then this piece plus this piece equals the whole piece. Well, that's where my equation is going to come from. In other words, ds plus st is equal to dt. Well, I have an expression for each one of these segment lengths, so I just need to substitute those in. Segment ds, that's 2x minus 8, plus segment st is 3x minus 12, equals segment dt, which is 40. Now I've just set up an equation. Now I just need to solve my equation for x. So let's see. I'm going to combine like terms here. That's going to give me 2x and 3x is 5x. Negative 8 and negative 12 is going to give me negative 20. And let's see, if I add 20 to both sides, then I get 5x equals 60. Now if I divide both sides by 5, then I get x equals 60 divided by 5 is 12. So now I know that x is equal to 12. So my 4th step is I want to ask myself, am I done? So let's see. I'm supposed to find x, ds, and st. Well, I found x, but I'm not done because I haven't found ds and st yet. So let's find ds and st. So ds, according to my problem, is 2x minus 8. I know what x is now because I just solved my equation for x, so I can just plug that in here. Equals 2 times x is 12, so 2 times 12 minus 8, that's 24 minus 8, and 24 minus 8 is 16. So now I know what ds is. And finally st, let's see, st is 3x minus 12. I know what x is, so I can plug that in here. 3 times 12 minus 12. 3 times 12 is 36. 36 minus 12 equals 24. And so now I know what st is, and now I've found everything I'm looking for, so now I'm done. Now you have another example using the segment addition postulate in your notes, example number 2, and I want you to try that one on your own. In fact, if you want to go ahead and pause the video right here, you can try that one on your own before we go on to the angle addition postulate. Okay, the angle addition postulate is very similar to the segment addition postulate, except instead of adding segments together, the angle addition postulate has to do with adding angles together. So the angle addition postulate says, if point D is in the interior of angle ABC, then the measure of angle ABD plus the measure of angle DBC equals the measure of angle ABC. So again, let's kind of unpack this a little bit using a picture here. So you have a picture of an angle ABC in your notes. It says if point D is in the interior of angle ABC, by the way, interior just means inside. Something that's in the interior of something means it's inside it. So point D is inside angle ABC. So let's say point D is right here. Point D is inside angle ABC. And let me go ahead and draw a ray from point B through point D. So now I've got ray BD. Now what I've done is I've essentially divided angle ABC into two smaller angles, angle ABD and angle DBC. Well, all the angle addition postulate says is that once you have this point inside an angle that divides that angle into two smaller angles, if you add those two small angles together, you get the big angle. So let's say, for example, for these angles, let's say angle ABD, was 16 degrees, and angle DBC was, let's say, 50 degrees. Well, then I would know, based on the angle addition postulate, that the measure of this whole angle here, angle ABC, must be the angle of angle ABD, must be the measure of angle ABD plus the measure of angle DBC. So this whole angle would be 66 degrees. The measure of angle ABD for this picture, that's 16 degrees, plus the measure of angle DBC, that's this angle, 50 degrees, equals the measure of the whole angle, ABC. And that's going to be 66 degrees. So let's take a look at an example that uses the angle addition postulate. Example number 3. The measure of angle ABC equals 4x minus 20. Measure of angle ABD is x minus 4. The measure of angle DBC is x plus 6. Find x and the measure of angle ABC. Okay, so again, my 4-step problem-solving procedure, I want to draw and label a picture first. And this picture is actually going to be pretty much the same picture as in the angle addition postulate definition that we just looked at. So let me just kind of redraw this picture. So here's angle ABC, and there I put my point D and my ray BD in here. So now I've got these essentially 3 angles, these 2 small angles, and then my one big angle, angle ABC. So here's my picture. Let me label it here with my values, my algebraic expressions that I have. Angle ABC is 4x minus 20. ABC, that's my big angle, so let me label that like this. 4x minus 20. Angle ABD is x minus 4. ABD, that's this angle here, so that's x minus 4. And angle DBC, which is this bottom angle here, angle DBC is x plus 6. Okay, so now I've drawn my picture, I've labeled my picture. Now I can go to step 2, which is to set up my equation. Well, based on what I've just learned about the angle addition postulate, I know that the sum of these two small angles here, angle ABD and angle DBC, the sum of these two angles is going to equal this whole big angle, angle ABC. So I can set up my equation. Angle ABD, which is x minus 4, plus the measure of angle DBC, which is x plus 6, equals the measure of the whole angle, which is 4x minus 20. Now I've got an equation set up. Next step, step number 3, is to solve the equation. So let's see. The first thing I want to do is combine like terms. I've got x plus x, that gives me 2x. I've got negative 4 and positive 6, that gives me positive 2. And let's see, how about if I subtract 2x from each side? And let's see, how about if I, oops, that should have been a negative 20. See, how about if I add 20 to both sides? And now I need to divide both sides by 2. And finally I get x equals 11. All right, so step number 4, am I done? So I've solved my equation, and now I can see here I'm not done because it says find x and the measure of angle ABC. Well, I found x, so I've got that part. Now I need to find the measure of angle ABC. Well, I have an expression right here for the measure of angle ABC. The measure of angle ABC equals 4x minus 20. And now since I know what x is, I can just take my value of x and plug it in for this expression. 4 times the value of x, 4 times 11 minus 20. 4 times 11 is 44. 44 minus 20 equals 24. And now I know the measure of angle ABC, and now I'm done. Now, once again, you have one more example in your notes, example number 4, which uses the angle addition postulate. And again, I want you to do that one on your own, and we'll take a look at this in class tomorrow.